a flat. Something that can happen to anybody and just about anywhere, especially if you spend a lot of time off-road. But if it's something simple like a puncture on top of the tread, well, that can be easily plugged using a kit like this. This is a tire repair kit, and I've got a link right here that'll take you to our video that'll show you how to do just that. Of course, if the damage is to the sidewall, or if for whatever reason the tire can't be repaired, well, there is a reason why we always make sure to carry a full-size spare. As most of you know, this is a high lift jack. And really, nothing says that you're a true off-roader more than having one of these guys bolted onto your bumper or on top of your hood, attached to a roof rack, or wherever everyone can clearly see it. And in addition to making your Jeep look really cool, I would be the first to say that it is an extremely useful and versatile tool. Out on the trail, they can give you all kinds of crazy options to help get you out of a sticky situation.
If your axle is stuck, we're going to jack your axle up a little bit.
There it goes. In the garage, they can even be used to do things like break the bead on a tire. But just how useful are they for changing out a tire? Well, for one, a high lift is really something that you want to be using on a flat metal surface, kind of like the steel Evo bumper made for our JT Gladiator. Or, even better, something like a D-ring. Or something like a rocker guard, especially if it has cutouts in it. Or a T-slot on the bumper made specifically for a high lift. But on a flimsy factory plastic bumper like this, yeah, not exactly. In fact, on a bone stock Jeep like this, there's literally nowhere you can safely use a high lift on the side of it. And up front, there's not even a flat spot to work off of. And this bumper is super flimsy. But even if this Jeep did have a place to jack from, is a high lift really the right tool for the job? Well, let's see. In order to change out a tire using a high lift jack, you'll need to first lift the frame of your vehicle up high enough for the tire to come off the ground. Of course, depending on how big your tires are, how much lift you have, or maybe more importantly, how much droop you have, that could be quite a bit of lifting, as your suspension will need to completely unload before your tires will even begin to move. As you can see, our Jeep JL Wrangler, running 38-inch ridge grapplers and an Evo coilover suspension system, this standard high lift jack couldn't even get the tires to leave the ground. But even if it could, would you really want to be working on something as big and heavy as this while being balanced up in the air on a cast iron stick? If you take the time and read the directions, you'll see that even high lift will tell you that this is dangerous and shouldn't be done. Sure, there are ways to make this work, like strapping your axle to the frame, but we're talking about changing a tire here. Is all this really necessary? In my opinion, no. For a stock Jeep like this, a factory scissor jack is all you really need. Of course, for me personally, and mainly because we have so many built-up Jeeps, I prefer to use one of these, a bottle jack. And as you can see, this is a US jack. Not exactly the cheapest one you can buy, but I do like the fact that it's made in the USA, and it works extremely well. But really, most any 12-ton jack will do the trick. And what I like about them is that they're compact, easy to store, easy to use, can hold a ton of weight, in this case 12 tons. And you don't have to lift your Jeep high in the sky just to change out a tire. Allow me to demonstrate. Unlike a high lift jack, which for the most part needs to work off of the frame, a bottle jack will allow you to lift your vehicle from where it needs to be lifted, the axle. On a big built-up Jeep like this, you can jack from the base of the differential, a low mount or control arm joint, or if necessary, even on the axle tubes itself. As you can see, with a bottle jack, you only need to raise the axle about an inch above level to get the tire off the ground. With all that said, I think it's time to get this tire changed. Double check to make sure that your e-brake is on. If there were any rocks around or even big chunks of wood, it's always a good idea to chalk the front tires as well, since we're going to be lifting from the back. But out here, there isn't a whole lot of anything other than sand and bushes. So just make sure that you're in gear or in park and that the e-brake is on, and really you're only lifting up one tire. It should be good. For me personally, I always like to start this process by loosening up the lug nuts. Grab the toolkit. Grab our little tool so that we can remove the bezel or the cover for the camera here. Just going to unlock it. Alright, so now we can take off these lug nuts. Always a good idea to get everything ready before you raise the Jeep. So as you can see, on a stock Jeep like this, a 12-ton bottle jack is going to be a little too tall to lift the Jeep up from the base of the differential or the control arm joints. And so I'm going to work off of the axle tube. And just to help make sure it doesn't slip off the jack, I'm going to be using this. This is a bottle jack buddy, and you could pick one up on eBay for about 45 bucks. Essentially, all you need to do is slide the bottle jack underneath, take the bottle jack buddy and place it underneath the axle. and we can raise everything up. Tighten up your lug nuts in a star pattern. Just get them snug on a little bit more. And then we're going to put it back down on the ground. All right, so now that we're back on the ground, just want to tighten it up just a little bit more. Again, in the star pattern. And just like that, we got ourselves a changed tire. Obviously, I only had a lug wrench to work with, so once I get back home, I'm going to want to double check all of these lug nuts to make sure that they're torqued to 130 foot-pounds of torque. This is something that's recommended by the factory and for 14mm studs. And just so that it helps you out, you'll need a 22mm socket to get that done. As you just saw, changing out a flat with a bottle jack like this is clearly the better tool for the job, or at least in my opinion. So, full disclosure, Pippi never really had a flat. And this video was just a demonstration to help illustrate a point. As I've mentioned in other videos, I am not a professional and certainly not an expert in anything. Certainly, I would never pretend to know more than the next guy, and I know there are a lot of you out there who know way more than me. The whole point of making a video like this is just to share some of the things that I've learned over the years, the things that I like to use, and why. And with any luck, they'll be of help to you out on the trail someday.